In today's video, I show you a report about Adepticon 2025. But before we get into today's video, just want to give a quick shout out to all of my lovely Patreon supporters. I love you all so much. You make this channel what it is. And I want to share with you this past month's GGGGs. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for this past month of March of 2025, Tammy W. and Avery B. are receiving a pledge for the Valley of the Horse Lords Kickstarter that is going on right now. And Rogelio Ramos is receiving $100 to go towards a crowdfunding campaign. Go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page where you're going to see a list of gratitude gifts populate as the month goes along. And for this month of April of 2025, you're going to receive this Scaventide box as one of the gratitude gifts, as well as everything else that you see here from the Adepticon Deluxe swag bag. I've gone to a couple of Adepticons right now, and I can say that it is my favorite gaming convention, even more so than Gen Con, which I'm going to be skipping this year. The reason is because it is focused on tabletop wargaming, which is something that I really enjoy and have a lot of fun with. Sure, I play a lot of board games, especially narrative RPGs, but in terms of actually getting in some games, I prefer to do some wargaming. So Adepticon definitely is the one to go to if you enjoy that. And this year was the first year that it went to Milwaukee rather than Schaumburg in Chicago. So it moved up north a little bit. So for me in St. Louis, rather than taking about 5 hours to get to Schaumburg, it only took 1 other hour to get up into Milwaukee. So for me, it wasn't a significant difference. I think there's some pros and cons of having it in Schaumburg versus Milwaukee. Now, they did outgrow Schaumburg, and there was 2 different sites that you had to go to, 2 different hotels in order to get your gaming in. The advantage of going to Milwaukee is that it is all under one roof, under the Baird Convention Center, and there is plenty of room to grow there. I don't know what final numbers there were this year. I think last year's Adepticon had about 8,000 people. So my guess is this year in Milwaukee, maybe it grew to 10,000. I'm not sure whether or not that's true, but it does have room to grow. I think the convention hall can hold up to 20,000. So hopefully we'll be able to stay there for at least the next number of years. Oh, one of the things I will say that is a benefit of having it in Milwaukee downtown is that there are a lot of places to go and eat within walking distance. So catty corner to the entrance to the Baird Center is 3rd Street Market, I think, but it's a bunch of stalls. It's almost like a food court, a more fancy food court that was a great alternative to spending a lot of money for the food that's inside of the conference center. And then very close to that area are a number of other hotels that you can get, and it's more expensive because you have to pay for parking. And even the place that I stayed at was a mile away just so that I could save some money because the ones that are right beside the convention center cost significantly more. But that was a way for me to save a little bit of money. My wife and my daughter also came up. They never attend the convention, but they enjoy shopping and exploring the city. And there's definitely a lot of that to do in Milwaukee with a lot of great restaurants. I will say that Schaumburg was a little bit cheaper because parking was free. And even though I never stayed at the Renaissance, I stayed at relatively cheap hotels where I just walked across the bridge to get over to the Renaissance Center. And again, I'll say it was just nice to have everything in one building in Milwaukee. So overall, I think it is a win, even though it's going to cost a little bit more, I feel like. But you gain the benefits of being downtown in Milwaukee, having access to all of those great restaurants that you can hang out with your friends. For those of you who've never been, Adepticon has tons of different kinds of tournaments, learn to play, demos, and it does have a vendor hall where you can buy a bunch of stuff. Now this year, I resisted the temptation to buy a bunch of miniatures or games or anything like that. In fact, the only thing I purchased this year, and I'm proud of myself, is this Game Envy brush cleaner for $8. So I only spent $8 this year, which is totally different from previous years where I've picked up a couple of boxes of miniatures or games. But this year I was actually pretty busy helping out with one-page rules, both running the tournament with one of my Patreon supporters, James, and we managed to coax in another Patreon supporter, JJ, to play in the Grimdark/Fantasy tournament that happened on Friday. This was our inaugural year that we had a Grimdark Future tournament. Also, they had their own booth and all of their demos were sold out. So I love the fact that there was a lot of attention given to one-page rules, and I'm hoping to grow that community because it is my favorite tabletop wargaming rule set. The tournament went great. We only had 10 people. We could have maxed out at 32, but we feel pretty happy about the response from a lot of people who wanted to demo the game. So my hope is, as we move forward, that we're going to have even more people participate, and we might open it up instead of having a tournament, having it be a little bit more casual, because I know a lot of you who play one-page rules are more casual and might be intimidated with the fact that it is a tournament. So considering that all of the demos were filled up, that might be one of the strategies that we take going into the future, and I have full intention of continuing to work with Param. He is the North American representative of one-page rules, and it was great to see Gaetano there. He is the original designer and producer of OPR. So because I was busy with that, I wasn't able to demo a lot of other games, although here are some that I did demo. A number of them, I don't quite remember what the names of them were. I will say that I really did enjoy Malediction from Loot Studios. I didn't think I would like it because when I was watching gameplay videos of other YouTubers online, I was worried that it was going to be overly complicated using the cards, but one of the things I really like about Malediction is that even when you roll a 1, a critical miss, you still do a point of damage. So I love the fact with even misses that you're doing some damage. So it doesn't feel like a whiff is super painful. And then when you get those combos going with the cards and you're able to maximize your damage, that is super satisfying. Now, was it good enough for me to pick it up? Because it would have cost over $100 to get 2 factions. I don't think so, and I think the primary reason why I didn't pick it up is because I just wouldn't know who would want to play the game with me, who would want to paint up faction boxes themselves, and I knew that if I picked it up, I would have to paint up 2 faction boxes. But I did reach out to Loot Studios and basically said, hey, if you want a review video and you want to send it to me, I'll be happy to have a more in-depth review. Those of you who actually have played Malediction, go ahead and make a comment below about whether or not you like the game and how much you invested in it. Another game that I was eager to demo was actually Trench Crusade. I was a little bit upset at them because they posted their game at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9. And when I got there on Saturday morning after waking up early, it actually wasn't the demo then. I had to come back at 10 o'clock to sign up for a demo slot later in the day. So they were a little bit disorganized with that, but I was able to have a 1-hour demo and just get a feel of the mechanics. Now, I do think I am going to start playing Trench Crusade, mostly because it's a super low model count, and I already have some miniatures that I think I can digitally kit bash in order to play that game. So I'm going to go sort of the ironic route. I have a bunch of anthropomorphic animal miniatures that I just picked up. So I'm going to convert them to be more grimdark to match the Trench Crusade aesthetic, and hopefully that'll be really fun. So the cost of entry into Trench Crusade is a lot lower than Malediction, and I think there's a good number of people here locally who would definitely play that game. And one of the features that I really like about that game is the fact that not only is there a low model count, but also you can do a lot of dice mitigation with the blood markers, and I really like that dynamic. And there's a push your luck kind of thing in the game where you have to roll in order to succeed, in order to do additional movement or additional actions, and I really like that feature a lot. Although in the demo game, of course, I rolled horribly, and none of the risky actions that I rolled for, I barely pulled any of them off. But that's my bad luck with dice anyway, but I still had a lot of fun with that. Even though I did kickstart the rulebook, the physical rulebook, during the Kickstarter campaign, I didn't pick up any of the STLs because I felt like they were more on the pricey side. So there are plenty of other proxies out there, and again, I think my anthropomorphic animals are going to be hilarious to put on the battlefield with all these other grimdark factions that are already out there. I'll definitely post a video later on once I get that faction painted up. The other fun thing about being a part of One Page Rules was that I got to meet Warboss Fitz, Dan, and he was doing a lot of the demos and helping out with One Page Rules. I actually got to play a new warband that he created using the Trench Crusade miniatures. Now, if you don't know Warboss Fitz, go ahead and check out his channel here, but he is amazing because he's able to print and paint an army a week. So make sure to show him love and support and check out his channel, as he has one-page rules battle reports. He has army evaluations about which ones are really good to play and which units. He has some awesome army lists, and he brought two of his recently painted Trench Crusade armies that he incorporated into and created rules into one-page rules. And so I was able to play a game with him. That was super fun. I was also able to see a couple of other YouTubers like Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions and a number of other folks, so that is always fun too, to catch up with them. Let's go ahead and do an unboxing of the swag bag so that you know what's in the gratitude gifts for this month. All right, let's go ahead and open up this bag, the swag bag. See all the little stuff first. New World's Paint. I've never heard about these guys. So, paint set. Malifaux Fate deck. A Blackout miniature. What is this? Oh, Ravage Star. More Marvel Crisis Protocol with Abomination. That's who that is. And then Wrecking Crew. Victoria Miniatures. A special Adepticon mini. Oh, magnetic bases that you can put on your miniatures. The Calhoun Striker Lance box for Battletech. Bolt Action Field Manual. What is that? What's the field manual? Is it the rulebook? Make a comment below if you know what the field manual is, if it's just the rulebook for Bolt Action. Some World War II minis, some Legion robots, some crab droids, Eric's Hobbies pre-painted bases, Shatterpoint Requesting Your Surrender Squad Pack. I don't know if that's Admiral Akbar. Probably not specifically him. War Machine. That actually looks like a pretty cool mini. Painter's Arsenal Booster Pack. What is that? Redgrass is... I think they make wet palettes. I'm going to go ahead and open this because I have no idea what this is. Oh, this is hilarious. It's just painting tutorials on cards. We have a coaster, a pin, that's pretty cool, and a Badger Games Orc miniature. Right, let's take a look at this. This is the Scaventide box for Age of Sigmar. I think this is the first box that came out for Age of Sigmar for this edition. Might be totally wrong about that, but if I remember correctly, that's what it is. It actually contains Spearhead in here with a game board. I wonder if these are 2 Spearheads worth of miniatures. Again, make a comment below if you know that that is the case. Okay, I'm not going to open it because it's taped shut. Alright, Tenfold Dungeon, Cyberpunk City terrain. If I remember correctly, their terrain sort of nestles within one another. Take a look at this. Alright. So there you have it. Hopefully this video is helpful for you and inspires you to possibly go to Adepticon next year if you are a tabletop wargamer. I think you will have a lot of fun like we did. And again, use the link below to go to my Patreon page where you can have an opportunity to be chosen by Bob at the end of the month to receive either this Skaven Tide, Warhammer Age of Sigmar box, or all the other things here. Otherwise, happy gaming. We'll see you next time.